Good evening, everyone, one and all. Welcome to round 3 of the Trofeo Sprint Cup, hosted here at Chequered Flag Simsports. You're about to witness some sprinting action taking place this afternoon at one of my favourite circuits, actually my local circuit, which of course is the GP variant of Brands Hatch. Some great overtaking action, especially for these Trofeo Sprint Cups that we have here this afternoon. Expect to see a lot of overtaking opportunities, especially on the run down into turn 1 and potentially in sector 1. Things get a bit more technical as we go into the GP side of things, but expect to see a lot of racing. We've got a great afternoon or evening here for you today. My name is Matthew Thompson in the commentary booth, and we have David Buckley, who's going to be looking after all of our racers out on the circuit. But a bit more on the circuit itself. Of course, it is the GP variant, as previously mentioned, so you've got a lot of overtaking opportunities, especially into Paddock Hill Bend. And it's going to be actually quite tricky for those qualifying here this afternoon, because if you actually get onto that pole position, that ultimate first place that you're looking for, it can actually cause a few issues for you at the start, especially when it comes to getting on the grid. So we're just waiting for the cars to go out onto qualifying, which they're just doing now, and they'll start to set some lap times for you, and we'll begin the action with 15 minutes of sprinting to the line. Of course, it's all about getting those tyres up to their optimal temperatures and getting ready for the race itself, which will be 30 minutes long here at this series. If you are interested in taking part, or if you do want to find out more information about us, then you can head to the links in the description, and there are still a few vacancies available as far as I'm aware, so please feel free to have a good gander and join if you wish. So, the Trofeo Cup. So this is a very tricky car indeed, especially at circuits like Brands Hatch. We visited Laguna Seca 2 weeks ago as well. That was very technical. But at least they can translate some of that knowledge over to this circuit. There's a lot of elevation changes here, especially in the GP side of the circuit, and that will create a lot of uncertainty, a lot of rear instability on these cars. They really do not like a lot of right foot, and you have to be very careful with these cars. So just while we're waiting for them to get around the circuit and get that warm-up lap all sorted, let's run through the standings just quickly, if we can, of what happened 2 weeks ago at Laguna Seca. So we've got the 18 car of Simco with Velasquez behind the wheel. He was lucky enough to claim 2 victories in a row so far this season, and is sitting on a total of 50 points. And then it was Alexis Clapano who actually came second place, his best result so far, and he is sitting on 44. Regal Racing and the number 8 took home 3rd place and 36 points, and they are tied with the 79 of No Team Racing, or Diego, behind the wheel. And then rounding up the top 5 is Energy Racing Team, with Samuel behind the wheel of the 87 with 30 points on the board. And then Manimals Racing Team in P6 and the 95 with 22 points, tied with Rookie Monster 73 with Chris Vickers behind the wheel there. Then it goes down to P9 or P8, sorry, for the 49 Simco 2 car with Patrick. He actually joined at Laguna Seca, so good first showing for him. And then it ebbs and flows down the order. Unfortunately, we can't show that on screen for you. However, those are the standings. So you just don't know who the names to look out for, the numbers on the cars, and who is most likely to come home victorious here. So let's have a look as they come round. So they're just completing their first lap now, and we're on board with the 95 at the moment, which is Van der Meulen and the Manimals Racing Team. Great camera shot there in amongst the trees as they come around sector 3. And let's see what kind of times we're going to get on the board this afternoon, as the 87 goes across the start finish line first with a 127. Dylan Tarboten for the 13 comes home in 3rd, as Van der Meulen actually takes pole position for the time being on the first opening round of laps with a 126.9. So good result for the driver there. Holding on to pole position, we've got the 79 coming through in 2nd place. Still quite a big gap to that pole position though, more than just half a second, 0.648 to be exact. And a big variety of times. Of course, this isn't representative of what we're going to see as the fastest pace here this afternoon. These tyres take at least, I would say, 3 to 4 laps before they are at optimal temperature, and give the drivers the confidence to really push around this circuit. So it's just coming through Hawthorn Bend. And Westfield, very tricky set of corners there. Pretty much only one car only. It is possible to overtake in Sector 2, but it does get very hairy very quickly if you're not in the right position at the exact right time. That pretty much applies through most of Sector 2, so it's going to be very interesting when we finally go green flag racing here to see who would have the courage to actually stick one up the inside, especially through Hawthorn. It's very fast corner indeed. Not a lot of downforce on these cars, as previously mentioned. So Van der Meulen still holding on to that first place. He does improve this time by at least 0.3 seconds, so it's a 126.6 to beat. The 79 is still in second place, but the gap is up to 0.9 seconds, which is a huge difference. We still do have Chris Vickers and Velasquez still to come over the start-finishing line, so maybe they can put a stop to this dominance. Here comes the A-Team Simco machine and a lovely purple and green livery there for the Lamborghini. And coming across the start-finishing line now, the time is second place. So very good effort from the Simco driver as usual. 126.811 is the time, and it's just shy of 2/10 off that pole position, so he will be starting alongside the 95 if we have everything where it is now. He's going for one more lap again, probably his only out lap, or his first flying lap that was. So typically these guys do it in 3s or 4s, depending on how well they get the tyres up to working as they intend. There's a few places moving around up and down in the mid sector as well. We've got 19 cars on the grid, and it's pretty lively out there, but quite a vast variety of times coming in. 126.6 the fastest still, as previously mentioned, but if you go all the way down to the bottom of the order, that's at least 5-6 seconds off the pace. Oh, he's just actually gone faster, so still 4.5 seconds off that qualifying pace. Brands Hatch is rather tricky. There's a lot of grass available, so maybe some confidence issues there. So we're following Velasquez around the circuit now. He's just coming through Sector 3 and going through Dingle Dell corner and clearways. And the final corner, which will be Clark Curve. Very tricky indeed. Got to really make sure you nail the exit, as that is going to provide you with the momentum to overtake anyone in the race towards the first corner, which is Paddock Hill Bend. Velasquez coming across the line in P2 as well, pulling alongside the circuit, make sure he's not in the way of anyone. But yeah, no improvement there from Velasquez. Niels van der Meulen still in first place, it seems. And in third, we have Alex Shahabi in the number 8 for Regal Racing. He's doing a very good job sitting in third, although he's still fairly big gap in between those pole sitting times, 0.8 seconds before you see the remaining podium position there. Well, he's just been demoted by the 79, so that is good news indeed for Diego and the Jokers E-Team. No joking around, that's for sure, as he's just posted a 126.832. Very good lap time indeed. Chris Vickers follows suit in P4, 126.9. So here come the times, starting to close down on our pole sitter here. And we're seeing maybe the top 5 become extremely competitive as we approach the midway point of qualifying. Now what we will do is wait for one of the guys to go out on circuit, and we'll follow them around on board so you can get a first or in cockpit view of what it's like to go around Brands Hatch in these Italian machines. For those of you who haven't actually driven these, they are very feisty. They need a very delicate hand. So if you want a challenge or want to challenge yourself, these are definitely the right thing to take on, because they do not like to be mistreated at all. Here's Velasquez then. So we know that Team Simco is going to try another run at that pole position time. He's got to find 2 tenths in order to secure that front row seat. And he's just going to be coming around his warm-up lap or out lap now. And then we will go on board and take you around Brands Hatch circuit. While we're waiting for that, don't forget to like and subscribe for more ACC action and R Factor 2 endurance races, which is our bread and butter. But we are coming over towards ACC even more so this year in 2021. So if you're enjoying this, then don't forget to sub or follow our community. All links in the description below. So it's just coming through sector 3. Let's go on board with the Simco driver now. And a lovely orange and silver helmet that he's got there. As he just comes through the last corner, you can see the hands very delicate indeed as he tries to control the understeer. And coming across the start-finish line now. So over to the left-hand side, look out for the white marshalling post. You want to aim for that and then brake heavily down in towards Paddock Hill bend. And then monitor the throttle and use all the curbing available on the left. Stay on the left for Druids and you're braking at the bridge as their marker post here. Hugging the inside curb. Open up the steering gradually to get a nice, easy increase of acceleration. And then Graham Hill bend, again very tricky. Do not attack the curbs on the inside. That is a very bad thing to do in these machines. Surtees, very tricky. You've got to come out wide, almost mid-circuit as I prefer personally, and then it's a late apex to catapult you down the longest straight here at Brands Hatch. Pilgrim's Drop, which obviously goes down into sector 2. Good overtaking opportunity if you've got the momentum for it before being plunged into Hawthorn bend. It's all about throttle management, not a lot of braking required. Same goes for Westfield as he just tackles through the apex. You want to maximise the potential of going down the hill, which is Dingle Dell. And then this is really tricky corner, one of the trickiest here at Brands Hatch. You cannot carry a lot of speed through there, and if you do mess it up, you get sucked onto the grass and into the barrier. So Dingle Dell corner, certainly one to watch out for. He's already gone through Sterling's. Curbing's quite aggressive there, and of course this is the vital corner, Clark Curve, the final corner. Wants to be able to get the braking done nice and early, and that's allowed him to accelerate down the back straight onto the start finishing line. So it's a fairly quick commentary lap. However, that is the way around Brands Hatch here for the GP variant of the circuit. Of course, most of the time it runs the Indy variant in the real world. Unfortunately, the locals decided to complain about the noise levels of the circuit. For those of you who don't know, it's a fun fact that I found out myself. So I don't know why, but they thought that living next to a racetrack would be a very quiet experience, but clearly not. So they actually only get to run the GP circuit about 7 to 8 times a year, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but that's what I was led to believe. And so it's actually quite a privilege to be able to race on this version of the circuit in real life. And we're just following Diego Monterrubio around the circuit. He's just coming into sector 3 now for Joker's E-Team, and he's got to find an extra 2/10. We didn't actually comment on Balasquez and his last lap. He did not improve, so he still needs to find that extra 2/10. Again, those tyres on these Trofeo cars really do need warming up properly. It's very tricky indeed. As you can see, there's a lot of overcast here at Brands Hatch. That means it's going to be quite a cold day, so they may struggle to get the temperatures in to be able to perform properly. So it's all about that setup, knowing what the car wants to do, the optimal temperatures for those tyres to work perfectly for them. Just coming up to the end of qualifying now. We've only got 2.5 minutes left before we go over to the race session. And things are still the same for at least the top 5. We have had a change for 5th place, mind you, which is Samuel for Energy Racing Team in the 87. That is a really nicely painted Lamborghini there in the lime green or yeah, I'd say lime green colour or reflective. It's a shame we don't do any night races. I'm sure that would light up beautifully in the headlights. Yeah, he's about 0.5 seconds off that pole position time, which is a 1:27.1, his personal best. Last lap, though, was 1:27.6, so maybe running into some traffic issues or maybe having a small little error at some point around here today. David Buckley, who is actually one of our admins at Chequered Simsports in P6, so he's probably smiling like a little schoolboy right now. He's going to be very happy with that result. 0.6 seconds, or just shy of 0.7 seconds of pole position time, 1:27.3 there. Now, will Balasquez try and go for another gap, or another go at the pole position? He's just coming around the final corner now. 1 minute still remaining, so he does still have a shot, though this lap will be the last opportunity that he has to be able to get on the front row. Coming through sector 1, all looks fairly tidy as he exits Druids. Of course, the top, if you just look at beyond first place on your standings to the left-hand side of your screen, you will see that the next 3 positions are separated by just a few hundredths of a second there. Very competitive times in the podium positions here. Even 0.2 seconds to our pole sitter isn't a lot of time at all. So very interesting going forward into the race. I'm sure we'll see plenty of action unfold as a result of that. Even the guys just outside, all the way down to 8th place, they're competitive. And just outside the top 10, we've got a good gaggle of cars that are going to be quite close together, all within a few tenths of one another as well. So going to be 2 battles unfolding here. Of course, one for the overall lead, hopefully, and maybe the top 5. And then one for the top 10 or thereabouts as well. So at least we're going to have battles up and down the order, fingers crossed. As Velasquez comes across the final corner now, is it going to be an improvement on his personal best? Let's have a look. Accelerating across the line, and the time is... it's a slight improvement. Very, very marginal. 1:26.808. Very good time indeed, but still not good enough to dislodge Niels van der Meulen from that overall top place position. We've still got plenty of cars still coming across the line now. Quite a few of them are still in pit lane, mind you. But a lot of the cars coming through, Dylan Tarboton being one of them for GSRC Simsports. And coming across the start-finish line from P13. Does he improve? Goes out into 9th place. Very well done indeed in the closing stages there. And that is the end of qualifying, ladies and gents. What that was, it was very close indeed. And we're just going to go into a warm-up session now, where we will do the race warm-up lap and followed by the race itself. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these adverts, and stay tuned.
Peggy 3.
Brand new season of the GT World Challenge Europe, powered by AWS, begins right here. Welcome to Imola. Ready for 3 hours of racing. This is going to be fantastic. Everybody's position in this Noah's Ark 2x2 formation. Road change, now we go racing for the first time this season. 3 hours of GT action, it's go.
Well, it's very tight as they come down. Group of cars coming in. This has all got trouble written all over it as it sees 3 cars.
Drop downhill there, head towards the Aqua Minerale. Imola, of course. There's another one off through the gravel. As wide as possible as they drop downhill, put it that front inside line. Yes, he did. There we go.
Hello ladies and gents, welcome back to the live stream here for round 3 of the Trofeo Sprint Cup hosted by Chequered Simsports. You're just joining us just before the race and we're about to kick off the action for 30 minutes of fun at Brands Hatch GP circuit. As you can see, the grid is just starting to move off and ready to start the race. They're waiting for the confirmation from race control, which is in game, to say that they can finally begin the race and get on with the action. If you didn't view the qualifying, it was Niels van der Meulen for the 95 that taking pole position for Manimals Racing Team, and Velasquez for the 18 Simco car taking home second place. And we're just waiting for, here we go, racing conditions finally underway as Niels van der Meulen leads the pack down into turn 1. 18 Simco car gets on behind, as does the 79, so no changes for your podium positions here. Chris Vickers and Samuel for the 87 in P5 still holding on in there as well. As they come through Druids, Chris Vickers going very wide indeed, so opportunities beginning to open for the cars behind, and Energy Racing Team going into P6 as a result. So good opportunity there for David Buckley to move on through in the yellow Lamborghini, if I can get my words out properly. And so far, so good. No retirements at the moment. Oh, and there goes Samuel off the circuit. Hits one of the boards as he tries to re-enter the tarmac, but able to get back underway. Loses a few positions in the process as he goes down into P7 now. So not good news there for Energy Racing. In the meantime, the leader, which is Niels van der Meulen, still holding on to that front row position and extending his advantage over the rest of the pack up to 0.7 seconds now, which is very good on cold tyres. Of course, we know that they are very treacherous indeed. The rest of the grid coming through Sector 3, following Diego Monterrubio in the Joker's E team at the moment. So he's holding off the rest of the pack, which is held by Gaber in the 88 Lamborghini there, which is the second of the Simco cars in a very different paint scheme. So the other one is purple and blue, but he's decided to go completely the opposite direction by choosing yellow instead. Dylan Boating holding on to P6, and the person that's missed out of quite a few positions is sadly David Buckley, one of the admins here at Chequered Simsports. So he's not having a good day. He's lost out on 2 positions at the start here this afternoon. Move for position by Samuel down into Druids here. This is for 6th place. Bit of bumping and barging going on as he tries to get the Lamborghini back under control, but that is a position gained from him. And David Buckley still going on the attack now for P7 for Vital Virtual Racing. And Alex Shahabi is the person who's losing all of these positions here at the early stages. David Buckley going around the outside here at Sector 2. And he's going to have the opportunity to accelerate down the back straight. Nice overtake around the outside, going the long way round, but able to make it stick as well. Dylan Tarbotin trying to have back at it. Has a little peek down the inside before entering Hawthorn's bend, but not able to take advantage. It's very risky indeed, so good thought to back out of that one. Bit of grass being kicked up by some of the guys outside the P10. So Patrick Bacrati in the Simco 2. So they've got 3 cars here in this particular series, holding on to P11 himself. And a few battles starting to unfold as we come into the first few laps. So the tyres are going to be starting to increase in temperature, just getting into that optimal window of performance, and that's when these guys will finally gain the confidence to apply pressure to the guys ahead, and fingers crossed we'll see some good battles as a result. David Buckley coming under attack from Dylan Tarbotin now as he enters turn 1. So that seems to have backed off ever so slightly entering the first corner. But here comes Dylan now looking into Druids. Thinks better of it. Not close enough just as of yet. Although David taking a very wide line there into Druids, allowing Dylan to close the gap just ever so slightly before going down the hill into turns 3. Battle for the lead is starting to heat up just ever so slightly as well. We've got Velasquez within 0.4 seconds of our leader here. We'll keep an eye on David for a short while longer because he is under a lot of pressure. There's a big train of cars behind him. And Dylan very close this time by coming down into Hawthorn and Sector 2. Very orthodox move going into that corner. Oh, David having to go wide into Westfield Bend before coming down into Dingle Dell. And now he himself is under attack. So that's the problem here at Brands Hatch, of course, is that if you're going to overtake, you need to make sure it's going to stick, because he's lost a lot of ground to David, and now he's under pressure from Alex behind in P9. Switching quickly to the lead then, because with Blaskis is trying to overtake Manimals Racing Team here for first place. The 95 being driven by Niels van der Meulen. And coming into the third lap here for this half-an-hour race. Plenty more action to unfold for certain. And the gap now down to 0.3 seconds as they come into Sector 2. The timing board's updating. Chris Vickers also having a very good run here for Team Rookie Monsters. And into third place after qualifying inside the top 5. Let's go back down the order. This battle's going to spice out in a few seconds, but we've got a few cars going side by side, if my timing is correct. And that's Chris Darboten just got overtaken by the 49 for P10. And there's a few more cars in the background starting to gain ground as well. So let's just quickly switch back to Blaskis because he's entering the last corner here, and on the run down to Paddock Hill Bend. Gap is down to 0.2 seconds, so Blaskis starting to apply that pressure now. He's in striking distance, just got to wait for the right opportunity to strike, and it may be potentially here in Druids. No, he's going to wait for another opportunity, just closing that gap down. Look at the aggression coming from the 18 behind the Lamborghini, ready to strike. And Manimals Racing, not much they can do. All very wide approach to the third corner. That could be the killer blow. That's going to set Blaskis up for the run down into Sector 2. That could be exactly what he's been waiting for. Coming through Surtees now, accelerating early, though that gap has widened slightly, so Neil's got a really good exit onto Pilgrim's Drop, and that's going to be his lifeline for this particular lap and keeping that 18 at bay for now. In the meantime, Chris Vickers looking on eagerly. He's still starting to gain some ground, down to 1.2 seconds. So he'll be looking for any opportunity. Once these guys start to make a move on one another, that will slow them down and bring him into the fight for the lead, which is exactly what he's waiting for. Blaskis looking into the right slightly. I think that's a bit of temptation for Niels, trying to persuade him to act defensively so that he can get a good run onto the final straight here before the finishing line. Here comes Blaskis now on the attack around the outside into Paddock Hill Bend. He's got the brakes. That means he's going to try and go for the undercut potentially here. No, he's actually going for the wide line. Is the switchback going to happen onto Druids though? No opportunities presenting themselves, so Neil's doing a really good job of choosing the right lines here to keep the 18 at bay. In the meantime, Chris Vickers taking advantage. He's now into the sub 1 second, I believe, if we wait for the timing to update on the sector times here. So it's 0.1 seconds, so he's gained a tenth or two coming through that last particular lap. Surtees much better exit here for Blaskis this time round. He's going to go on the attack down into Hawthorn Bend here, potentially. Let's go on board as he tries to go onto the left-hand side. Niels goes defensive. And that's not what we want to see, because Chris Vickers is going to be coming into the picture very shortly. There he is, so an opportunity starting to prevent itself. And Blaskis goes wide on the exit of Hawthorn's and hits the barrier. That's a lot of damage to the front end of that Lamborghini. And we were saying that here, these particular corners, if you're going to overtake in Sector 2 here at Brands Hatch, is very tricky indeed. So Neil's probably wiping his brow there, a bit of relief inside that cockpit. And that allows Chris Vickers into second place for now. And it's his opportunity to apply pressure to the front running car. So Blaskis still able to continue, not pitting for repairs at this time in the 18. But he is now in the middle of a ongoing battle for the third place position. So Diego Monterrubio in the 79 leading the pack for that final spot on the podium. And then we have the 88 and the number 87 behind trying to catch up as best they can. That's Energy Racing Team and also one of the Simco cars. So you've got two sisters in the same piece of tarmac for the time being, as they will come down Pilgrim's Hill. On board with Samuel here for the NG Racing Team, as Velasquez running into further issues, potentially some damage causing him to not have the downforce that he had previously, and losing out on 2 positions there. So Velasquez falling back even further after that little visit to the barrier at Hawthorn's Bend, and yeah, pitting for repairs on this particular pass by. Do not blame him for that one, because he's losing just too much, and with 19 minutes to go, you may as well take the repairs now before it gets too late. That's allowing a lot of people to go by. David Buckley still in P6 and being chased by Dylan, who's actually disappeared. Dylan running into issues now. So that's a big problem for GSRC Simsports coming down to turn 1. He's now back down into 12th place. So that is whatever's happened to him. Not ideal at all. Oh, bit of an incident there for I think that was Joan Planas in Team Sisu. Yep, so going down into P14 and under attack from the 23 as he gets on through. Bit of bumping and barging from D Motorsport. And coming through at Surtees. Oh, and another issue for Joan. So into the barrier. On the exit of Surtees, just too much right foot. We said that in the onboard when we was running through qualifying. Again, Surtees requires a very specific entry. And if you do not get that, especially in these Lamborghinis, too much right foot and the rear does not cooperate at all. Got sent into the barrier. Not surprised by that at all, which is a shame. And we could see a battle starting to develop here for 6th place as David Buckley tries to hold off the number 8 with Alex in behind. So Alex Shahabi for Regal Racing coming into the corner of Druids now. So he's been able to close down this gap over the next or the previous few laps, and the gap now down to less than half a second as he comes in towards Sector 2. Using all of the curbing available, which is allowed. And on board with Alex coming down into Sector 2. And this battle is about to become a 3-way fight for position, as you've got the 88 just ahead as well. Brands Hatch, an awesome circuit to get some onboard footage from. Oh, stationary car at the exit of Clearways, or Sterling's Corner, just on the entry to Clearways. And I believe that was the Energy Racing Team Lamborghini. Potentially the 87. Let's see if we can get some information on that side of things. A lot of the cars going through. Here's a side-by-side battle between Velasquez. He's trying to make his way back up the order to claim as many points as possible. Of course, he is our championship leader here for this evening. He is a lap down, so he's got to do a lot of work. Only 15 minutes remaining here in this particular round, so he definitely needs to get on with the job, which is exactly what he's doing. He's already unlapped himself from the top 14, 15 cars, I believe. So he is on the right path, but still a long way to go, unfortunately. Let's have a good look at this battle. Chris Tarboton for GSRC Simsports. in a gaggle for P8. He's got P9 and 10 behind, which is the 49, which is the Simcoe car, and also the 60 with Aaron Chard behind the wheel. So this is good battle that's unfolding before us right now. Let's go on board with the 49. And he actually got a very bad exit onto clearways on that particular lap. And that's allowed Aaron to close in behind.
We're at the halfway mark. Keep pushing.
So that's halfway of the race complete, ladies and gents. Coming down into turn 1 now. And just a quick note at the lead, they are closing down as well. Chris Vickers within 1 second, just about, as they finish lap 10 of this afternoon's race. And we've also got some fights unfolding for P5 too, so good mix going on up and down the order. And plenty of action still unfold, it seems. And the Lamborghini sounding absolutely awesome, of course, on live stream and in-game here at ACC. And let's go up towards P4 because this battle is about to unfold. This is Team Simcoe and Alex Shahabi in Regal Racing behind. Also David Buckley, we missed that overtake. So David Buckley has lost out on position on that particular lap. So he was in P5. Entering Surtees. 3 cars all within half a second of one another as they come down onto the longest straight here. 88 leading the way. David Buckley still in the fight as well. Slipstream still in effect for all 3 cars. And we also have the 87, I believe, coming into the fray. Oh no, that's actually Velasquez, my apologies. Trying to unlap himself here this afternoon. So then we see the 87, which is the next competitive car. So Velasquez really on some flying laps in the second half of this race. He's already gained some ground on the top 7 people here to be able to unlap himself. And he's got to do it all again in a few moments' time if he can ever get to the front where Niels is at the moment. Velasquez trying to apply pressure to David Buckley now is his next target. Of course, still in P19, not for position, so this will be a blue flag situation, but clearly with the amount of ground that he's making, he is the faster car at this point. And remaining focused and cool as a cucumber as he gets past David Buckley there. That's cost him a bit of time. Here comes a fight for position as Samuel smells blood in the water. David Buckley having to allow Velasquez through after that overtake, but that's put him right into the jaws of Energy Racing Team and the 87 coming down into Hawthorn's Bend. Had to back out before the braking zone. Oh, and there goes the 87 onto the grass. That must have been a very scary moment as he regains composure. Luckily wasn't sent into the barrier, that's for sure. Alex Shahabi for Regal Racing next on our list as he tries to catch up to the 88 Team Simcoe car ahead. Here comes Velasquez trying to unlap himself as well in the purple and green Lamborghini behind. And Velasquez coming into Paddock Hill bend very aggressively. Door gets shut by Alex, which he has the right to do, of course. He is one lap up from the Simcoe driver behind. And he is fighting for position as well. So Velasquez needs to be respectful of that. Make sure he doesn't interrupt things. We have 10 minutes still to go here. And coming down into Surtees, he does like to attack in these orthodox corners. Not typically where you would see the overtaking take place. Most people like Druids and Paddock Hill bend, but Velasquez really taking advantage of the, I would say, uncomfortability of the situation, really applying the pressure where they do not expect it to happen, and that allows him to slide on through up to or into position. On board with Alex now, coming down into Sector 3 as we enter Dingle Dell. On the trickiest corners here. Had a few people go off, especially into Sterling's as well, but that's one of the things about Brands Hatch. If you do not get a Dingle Dell corner right, then Sterling's is always going to be a pain for you. There's his teammate letting him by, so both the cars ahead, Team Simcoe. And a bit of teamwork going on, saying, yes, you can come on through and begin to unlap yourself. As Velasquez goes into P17, Dylan Tarboton, I think, is retired from this particular race. But he's still got Christopher Tarboton still in the race, which is a duo that take part in our series here. Christopher actually doing modestly okay. Yeah, P8 in class at the moment, so he's doing really good. Going to score a nice solid chunk of points for them this afternoon. And Alex Shahabi still within striking distance here. So we've got two battles on screen. One for P4, the other one for P6. David Buckley defending against Samuel in the 87. No opportunities for either of them on this time by on the run down Pilgrim's Way or Pilgrim's Drop. Oh, big issue for David Buckley. Too much right foot on the exit of Sterling's. Once again, we've seen that before already this evening. Losing out on a ton of positions, going down into 9th place before getting back up to speed. So not good news there. That's allowed quite a few people by, including the 49 and Christopher Tarboton in the 96 as well. So finding more time and space to do all the work. Leading the race is still Niels van der Meulen. We haven't seen him in quite some time. He's still being chased by Chris Vickers for Team Rookie Monsters. And it seems to be hovering around 1 second gap at the moment as one of the cars gets slapped. Not too sure who that was. But Niels van der Meulen is stronger in one part of the circuit over Chris Vickers behind. But then Chris always seems to be able to gain a 10th or two at some other point in the race. So very evenly matched. Any single-handed mistake will change the course of this race, it seems. But still, no overtaking opportunities for Chris at this moment in time. Coming down into the first corner now, on-board camera shot as he's looking very relaxed and calm. Very smooth inputs on the steering wheel there inside the Lamborghini as he tries to counter out any understeer, oversteer issues, which these Lamborghinis absolutely love to do. So now down into the sub 1 second. See, as soon as he goes into sector 2, it goes back up to 1.3 seconds. But on the run down to the first corner, the start-finish line, he seems to be able to gain some ground there, which is very important, especially in the later stage of this race. If he ever does be able to get closer, that would be the opportunity, especially going down into the final corner. So Neil's doing everything he needs to do, maintaining that gap very well. Blaskiss, of course, out of the picture, which was the next competitive car as well. And Diego, who's still holding on to third place for the Joker's E team. He's driving very well. Only 3.3 seconds behind the leaders here as well. So it's still a lot to play for from that position. Then there's a fairly large gap until we see fourth place. And that's when all the fun begins, it seems, as we've got a fight for P4. It's his team Simco holding off Alex Shahabi. Rebull Racing still. So this is ongoing after at least 10 minutes of racing. David Buckley, of course, running into issues, and that leaves P6 in the hands of the NG Racing team with the 87 behind. Someone having issues. I think that may be the 83, perhaps. Yes, it is. So that's Squadra Corsa with Giorgio Minga behind the wheel. And he is pretty much stone dead last, unfortunately. Dylan Tarboton retiring from this particular race. So he's the last of the runners. Velasquez into P16. So he's starting slowly but surely unlap himself here in this grid. This battle for P5 though. Alex Shahabi still giving chase. Oh, we had an issue for the 87 it seems. So Energy Racing team running into problems. We saw him have a small off at Hawthorn's previously. So I think that may have come to rear its ugly head once again, as he loses a ton of time to the guys fighting for fourth place. Yeah, last lap on that one was a 1:30, so he lost a good few solid seconds that he could have otherwise used. Especially with only 3 minutes remaining, so clearly pushing just that bit too hard, unfortunately. So he had the pace to catch up. He was catching up to the guys sitting here in fourth place. However, just a bit too greedy coming into the second sector, and that's what Brands Hatch is all about. It's about discipline, making sure you understand the limits of the circuit and the car. Running out of time to make this move. This is the closest battle that we have on circuit at the moment. Even our leading car, Chris Vickers, starting to fall back from Van der Meulen in the lead, up to 1.6 seconds on the last sector time information that we've received. Now coming into for the last 2 minutes here. So depending on where Niels van der Meulen is, we may go for another 2 laps. And he's just coming through sector 2, Hawthorn's Bend now. So the next lap will probably be the final lap for the guys here. Up to 2 seconds gap these, so he's starting to push now, making sure that he's got the security he needs to bring this one home for Manimals Racing. And Chris Vickers for Team Rookie Monsters, just shy of that 2 second now. Another 3 seconds before you see Diego Monterrubio, which is good security for Chris Vickers in Team Rookie Monsters. Just needs to maintain that momentum now, make sure that he can take second place to the checkered flag. moving back to the fight here for 4th place though, so coming into clearways. And Team Simcoe still holding on to that. Regal Racing giving chase, 0.7 seconds. As we enter the final lap here for Brands Hatch, round 3 of the Trofeo Sprint Cup. On board with Alex. Niels van der Meulen now coming into Hawthorn's Bend once more. And this will be the final lap here for round 3 of the Trofeo Sprint Cup. So Diego starting to close up on Chris Vickers. He's knocked off at least 0.7 seconds. But it's not enough as they enter the penultimate corner here for round 3. And it will be Manimals Racing and Niels van der Meulen taking victory here at Brands Hatch GP. His first victory so far. What a race that is. So he must be very delighted with that. And Chris Vickers for Team Ricky Moss is coming home in 2nd place. A very good result for him. His best so far this season. And Diego Monterrubio in the 79 coming home in 3rd for Joker's E-Team. Here comes Gaber in the number 4, or sorry, the 88 Simcoe car coming across the line. So Alex, a valiant effort of trying to catch up, but having to settle for 5th place. A flash of headlights probably in respect of the great battle that they've just had here this evening. And still cars coming across the line. Patrick for Team Simcoe 2. And Aaron Shard also for Regal Racing, his teammate, coming home in P7. So solid result for both of those guys. And David Buckley coming home in P8 there. So he must be happy with that result too. So what a race, ladies and gents. That has been a ton of fun for us here in the commentary box. Hope you did enjoy it just as much as we did. And those are results in front of you, as you can see. And that has been round 3 of the Trofeo Sprint Cup here, hosted by us at Chequered Simsports. If you did enjoy the action this evening or afternoon, wherever you are in the world, then don't forget to give us a thumbs up on that live stream link that you're watching now. And don't forget to subscribe for more ACC action too. Really does help us out, and also shows that you are enjoying the stuff that we're giving you. Next round's going to be at Catalunya, so don't forget to miss out in that. It'll be in 2 weeks' time, so same situation. Short qualifying session, short sprint racing. So make sure you do not miss on that one. Or if sprint racing is not your thing, then we do have the World Sports Car Challenge at RFAT 2, and that's going to be going to Interlagos for 3 hours, so certainly something to keep an eye on. But this is us signing off for this afternoon, guys. If you did enjoy it, again, give us a thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and we will see you around. Take care and goodbye.